Guys, this is a fire alarm. This is a device that saves people's lives. So never ever tamper with this. If you're out in public, don't ever unscrew the alarm off the wall. Don't ever unscrew the alarm off the ceiling. Don't ever paint the alarm. Don't ever take the strobe off the alarm. Don't ever take the horn off the alarm. Don't ever disable the horn or the strobe on the alarm. Don't ever adjust the volume, the pattern, the candle, or tone on the alarm. Don't ever cut power to the alarm. Don't ever do any of that. Remember, if you break the alarm, you're going to have to replace it. Also, never put Play-Doh on the alarm. You never want to put glue or glitter on the alarm. You never ever want to draw on the alarm. You never ever want to do any of that. Leave it alone. You never ever want to pull this for fun. Only pull this if there is a real fire or if you have permission to during a drill or a system test or if you have your own fire alarm system at home that doesn't contact the fire department. It is fine to pull the fire alarm for that reason, but never ever pull these for fun. You will get in big trouble or even arrested if you pull that fire alarm for fun or if you tamper with fire alarm equipment. So do not do that for any reason. Never put tape over the alarm. Never ever do any of that. Also, you leave it alone. I mean, again, if you want to mess around with your own alarm, that is totally fine, but if you mess around with an alarm in a public building, you are going to get in serious trouble and you are going to get arrested. These things save lives. These are not to be played around with. Fire alarms are installed to save people's lives. They are not to be played around with. So never ever mess around with these things. This is serious. Especially this time of year when the chances for fires can go up due to heaters and stuff like that. And this is going to alert you. So it is especially important that you take my words of advice very seriously this time of year when the chances for fires could go up due to heaters and stuff like that. And this is going to alert you to leave if that happens. So this is why this should never be messed with. If you smash the fire alarm, you are going to get in huge trouble and you are going to have to replace it. Remember, if you break it, you will have to replace it. If you don't want to go through that, do not break the alarm. Any fire alarm vandalism, you have to replace the alarm if you break it. If you vandalize the fire alarm, you are responsible for replacing it. To make sure that you don't go through that consequence, never ever tamper with this thing. I mean, you are going to get in serious trouble if you ever tamper with fire alarms in public buildings. I mean, if you have your own fire alarms at home, you can mess with them, but do that in a public building, you are going to get in serious trouble and you are going to get arrested. You can play around with your own fire alarms, but if you play around with fire alarms in public buildings, that is not okay at all. You will get in big trouble if you mess around with fire alarms in public buildings. So never ever do that. This is not a joke. This is very, very serious stuff. I mean, the next time you go out into a public building, do not mess around with this. If you see this on the wall, don't take it off the wall. Don't unscrew it. Don't paint it. Don't do any of that. Leave it alone. I am serious about this. If you are giggling about this video, you must stop immediately because this is very, 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 very serious. You do not ever play around with fire alarms in public buildings. Absolutely not. Tampering with the fire alarm will put people's lives in danger. Because if there's a fire and there's no alarm, people are going to die because they didn't get the alert in time to evacuate. So this is why these things should never ever be messed with, because this will save your life if there were a fire. These are very serious devices that save people's lives, so therefore they should never ever be messed with. I mean, tampering with any life safety equipment will send you into jail. You could get arrested if you tamper with any life safety equipment. It is against the law to tamper with any life safety equipment. And that includes fire alarms. I am serious about this. I mean, if you mess around with fire alarms at school, you are going to get expelled from school. And you are going to get arrested. So don't do that. If you want to stay in school, do not mess around with the fire alarm in the school. Or else you are going to be expelled if you mess around with fire alarms in your school. So do not do that. Any kids that messed with a fire alarm in a school are expelled right now because what they did was wrong. You do not ever mess with these things out in public buildings. Never. If you mess with fire alarms in a church, a store, or a restaurant, or a shopping mall, or anything like that, they will not allow you to come back in. Because this is the wrong thing to do. These people cannot accept customers that tamper with fire alarms or any other life safety equipment. They will never allow you to come back if you mess with their alarm. So, I'm serious. Leave the fire alarm alone. You don't take it off the wall, you don't take the wires off, you don't unscrew it, you don't paint it, you don't pull it for fun, you don't do any of that. You are going to be in serious trouble if you mess with this thing. I mean, this is not a joke. You know fires are serious. People die because of them. And this thing will save your life if there is a fire. So do not mess with this. Do not mess with the thing that is going to save irreplaceable lives. Do not mess with this. This thing will save your loved ones. So never, ever, ever mess with this thing. I mean, tampering with anything that keeps us safe will result in major consequences. I am serious. You don't tamper with fire alarms, you don't tamper with sprinklers, you don't tamper with exit signs, you don't tamper with emergency lighting, you don't tamper with fire extinguishers, you don't tamper with anything like that. Leave those the way they are. Tampering with any sort of life safety equipment will result in major consequences, so do not do that. And this includes fire alarms. Also, you never want to tamper with your burglar alarm. Don't tamper with the carbon monoxide alarm. Especially don't tamper with carbon monoxide alarms, because remember, with carbon monoxide, you can't see it, you can't smell it, you can't taste it, and you won't know it's there unless you have an alarm for that. I mean, if you tamper with a carbon monoxide alarm, you are putting people's lives in danger if there was a CO leak. That is the only thing that is going to warn you to get out into fresh air if there is a carbon monoxide leak. So never tamper with alarms like that. Especially important in buildings that have fuel burning appliances that you need to take my words of advice very seriously. If you have a gas furnace in your house, if you have a gas water heater, any fuel burning appliances inside your house, never ever tamper with the carbon monoxide alarm. Especially in a house like this one. You do not ever tamper with any sort of life safety equipment. I mean, they're not going to allow you to come back to bars, restaurants, or any places like that if you tamper with the fire alarm or any other life safety device in those buildings. You are going to be banned from those buildings, so don't do that. You could go to jail if you mess with fire alarms or any other life safety device in public buildings, so never, ever, ever do that. This is serious. This is not a joke. You have to take this very, 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 very seriously. I mean, you are not going to have treats for the rest of your life if you tamper with a fire alarm. You definitely don't deserve treats if you tamper with this, because that is not okay at all. You do not ever mess with this thing. I mean, you could go to jail if you mess with this, as you know. So, I'm serious. The consequences are so serious for tampering with fire alarms or other life safety devices that you should never ever do that. A kid or a teenager in Utah got suspended from his school because he pulled the fire alarm in his school. No good. Don't do that. If you pull the fire alarm at school, you are going to get expelled and you are going to get arrested. So never ever do that. At this age, if you pull the alarm, you are definitely going to get arrested because it is not a toy. Bye.